I never thought I'd poison my mother-in-law's eggnog, but after she gutted me in front of everyone at that Christmas dinner, her venom dripping like the cheap Merlot she pretended was vintage, I realized mercy was for suckers. My 8-year-old son, little Tommy with his gap-toothed grin and too big sweater, looked up from his plate of half-eaten turkey and said, "Grandma, why do you hate Mommy like Daddy hated her before he left?" And the room went dead, forks clattering like gunfire in the silence. That's when I knew the truth she'd buried for a decade was clawing its way out. And I'd be the one to hand it the shovel, even if it meant dragging us all into the grave with it. It was December 24th, 2024, in the frostbitten sprawl of suburban Chicago, where the wind off Lake Michigan bites harder than any family feud. Our house on Elmwood Lane was the kind of place that screamed keeping up with the Joneses. White picket fence, inflatable Santa on the lawn that deflated like my dreams every holiday season. I'd spent the morning wrestling with a 17-pound turkey, basting it until my arms ached, while Tommy strung popcorn garlands on the tree, humming off-key carols from his school's pageant. My husband, Jake, was late again, stuck at the office or whatever excuse he texted this time. But his mother, Evelyn Hargrove, God, how I loathed typing that name, was due any minute, her Mercedes purring up the drive like a predator scenting blood. Evelyn wasn't just my mother-in-law, she was a goddamn siege engine wrapped in Chanel No. 5 and pearl necklaces. 62. With the sharp cheekbones of old money and the tongue of a defense attorney who'd never lost a case. She'd hated me from the jump. Back when Jake and I met at that dive bar in Wrigleyville, me slinging beers in cut-off shorts, him nursing a heartbreak from some debutante who'd ghosted him. "She's beneath you, Jacob," she'd hissed at our wedding, loud enough for the organist to falter. But I'd clawed my way in community college nursing degree, night shifts at Northwestern Memorial, turning our starter home into something resembling stability. For Tommy's sake, I'd swallowed the barbs, the backhanded compliments about my rustic cooking, the way she'd accidentally book our family vacations without consulting me. This Christmas, though, she arrived loaded for bear. The door swung open at 4 p.m. Sharp, her fur-trimmed coat shedding snow like dandruff, arms laden with gifts that screamed excess, a Swarovski angel for the tree that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. "Gianna, darling," she cooed, air-kissing my cheeks without touching skin. "You've outdone yourself with the lights." So festive. Like a Black Friday sale exploded, Tommy barreled into her legs, and she scooped him up with genuine warmth, the only softness she reserved for blood that wasn't diluted by my Italian immigrant genes. Jake stumbled in 20 minutes later, tie askew, smelling of bourbon and regret. "Traffic was a nightmare," he muttered, pecking my forehead like I was the help. Dinner was the usual tightrope, Evelyn holding court at the head of the table, regaling us with tales of her latest cruise to the Amalfi Coast, while I passed the mashed potatoes and smiled through gritted teeth. Tommy chattered about his Lego Star Wars set. Jake nodded absently, scrolling his phone under the table. It was all so normal, so achingly American, the kind of holiday that Hallmark peddles to distract from the rot underneath. Then she struck. Midway through the pumpkin pie, as the candles flickered and Bing Crosby crooned from the speakers, Evelyn set down her fork with a deliberate clink. "Gianna," she said, her voice slicing through the chatter like a scalpel. "We need to talk about this situation." My stomach dropped. "Situation?" Jake's eyes flicked up. "Guilty as sin." Tommy paused, pie crust crumbling in his fingers. She leaned forward, her diamonds catching the light like accusatory stars. I've been patient for years, but it's gone on long enough. The drinking, the blackouts, the way you've been neglecting my grandson. Jake told me everything last week, how you came home reeking of gin again. Passed out on the couch while Tommy made his own cereal.
Lies.
All of it. I'd had one glass of wine at book club 2 months ago, and Jake had twisted it into some Lifetime movie script. But Evelyn wasn't done. She pulled out her phone, swiping to a grainy photo, me, slumped in my car in the hospital parking lot after a double shift, eyes half closed from exhaustion. This is what rock bottom looks like.
Dear.
And frankly, it's embarrassing for the family. The room spun. Jake wouldn't meet my gaze, his knuckles white around his napkin. Tommy's eyes widened, darting between us like he was watching a tennis match from hell. Mommy doesn't drink like that, he whispered. But Evelyn steamrolled on.
Oh.
Sweetheart, she does. Your daddy's just too kind to say it. That's why he's been staying late at work, so he can protect you from this mess. She reached across, patting Tommy's hand, her pity a weapon sharper than any truth. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The betrayal hit like a sucker punch, not just Jake's complicity, but the depth of it. For years, I'd covered for him, lied to his mother about his overtime when he was holed up in cheap motels with interns half his age. I'd taken the blame for our overdrawn accounts, claiming my impulse buys when it was his gambling app addictions draining us dry.
And now,
this. Public execution over pie. Evelyn. Stop. I finally choked out, my voice a rasp. That's not what? The truth. She arched a perfectly plucked brow. Jacob.
tell her.
Tell her it's time for an intervention. Or a separation. For Tommy's sake. Jake cleared his throat, mumbling, Gianna. Maybe she's right. We could use some help. That's when Tommy spoke. His small voice cut through the din like a siren. Grandma, why do you hate Mommy like Daddy hated her before he left? Wait. Before he left? Jake hadn't left. He was right there. But Tommy's words hung, loaded with a child's brutal honesty. Jake's face drained of color. Evelyn froze, her smug mask cracking just a hair. Tommy? What? I started, but he barreled on, innocent as a grenade. You know, like when Daddy said he was going to work, but really he was with that lady from his office. And he told me not to tell Mommy because she'd cry. And then he didn't come back for 2 weeks. Remember? And you yelled at Mommy for being sad. But it was Daddy's fault. The clatter of silverware hitting plates was deafening. Evelyn's mouth opened and closed like a landed fish. Jake bolted upright, chair scraping back. Tommy?
Buddy.
That's not. But the damage was done. The room wasn't just silent, it was a vacuum, sucking in all the air, all the pretense. Evelyn's eyes darted to me, then Jake, then back, realization dawning like a slow-motion car crash. She'd weaponized a lie built on her son's infidelity, and now her golden boy was exposed. Mid-bite. I stood, napkin crumpling in my fist, the weight of a decade's secrets crashing down. Get out, I said to no one and everyone. All of you. Merry fucking Christmas. They left in a flurry, Jake muttering apologies, Evelyn hissing about ungrateful tramps, Tommy trailing me to the kitchen.
Confused and tear-streaked.
I locked the door, slid down against it, and for the first time in years, let the sobs come. Not for the humiliation. Not for Jake's cowardice. For the realization that Evelyn's cruelty wasn't random, it was engineered. And Tommy's words? They were the key to unlocking it all. That night, as snow blanketed the cul-de-sac and the neighbors' lights twinkled like false promises, I dug out the old shoebox from under my bed. Letters, photos, the divorce papers Jake had hidden from his mother by forging my signature on a loan he'd defaulted on. I'd taken the financial hit 5 years ago, claiming it was my bad investment to keep the family intact.
But why?
Because Evelyn had whispered in his ear, "Sign it,
Jacob.
or I'll cut you off." Old money strings, always pulling. By dawn, with Tommy asleep in my lap, I made the call. Not to a lawyer, too clean, too American dream. To Marco, my cousin from the old neighborhood in Little Italy, the one who'd done time for creative accounting but now ran a discreet PI firm out of a pizza joint in Pilsen. "Gianna," he rasped over the line, voice thick with sleep and cigar smoke. "It's Christmas." What fresh hell? I need dirt on Evelyn Hargrove. Everything. And I mean bury her deep dirt. He chuckled, low and knowing. Revenge. For family, for Tommy. And me. Marco didn't ask twice. By New Year's, his dossier landed in my inbox, a digital Pandora's box. Evelyn hadn't just meddled, she'd orchestrated. Back in 2009, before Jake and I met, she'd covered up a DUI hit-and-run her. Behind the wheel, plowing into a pedestrian on Lakeshore Drive. The victim? A single mom from the South Side, left paralyzed. Evelyn paid off witnesses, buried the report, and pinned the blame on her then-husband, who conveniently overdosed 6 months later, his estate funding her silence. But the kicker? Jake knew. As a teen, he'd seen the whole thing from the passenger seat. And when I got pregnant, Evelyn had leveraged it. Keep her in line, or the truth comes out and you go down with me. That's why he'd cheated, gambled, gaslit, trapped in her web, lashing out at the one person who could have freed him, me. I'd borne it all. The debts, the whispers, the isolation, thinking it was love. But it was extortion. Deep, festering betrayal, wrapped in holiday ribbon. The plan crystallized over lukewarm coffee in my kitchen. The trees still up, needles shedding like regrets. Revenge wasn't an outburst, it was a slow burn. American as apple pie laced with arsenic. I'd start small, leak the DUI to an anonymous tip line for the cold case unit. But twist it, frame it as Jake's confession. His guilt over the family's secret driving his instability. Evelyn would scramble to protect him, exposing herself in the process. Polarization was key. Make Jake the flawed hero. Me the vengeful wife. Evelyn the monster matriarch. No one's hands clean. Readers, for that's how I saw it now. Scripting my life like a Reddit AITA thread, would argue, was I justified? Or just as toxic? First move, the intervention. I called Evelyn 2 weeks post-Christmas. Voice syrupy as her spiked cocoa. For Tommy's sake. Let's get Jake help. Real help. She bit. Scheduling a family counseling session at her club in Oak Park. All leather armchairs and discretion. I arrived early, planting the seed with the therapist, a no-nonsense broad named Dr. Kessler, who'd owed Marco a favor. Jake's carrying something heavy, I confided. From his childhood. A car accident. His mom's. Eyes wide. Professional nod. Hook set. The session was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Evelyn preened, outlining my issues like a deposition.
Jake fidgeted.
Sweat beading on his brow. Then I flipped the script. Jake, tell them about the night on Lakeshore. The one that haunts you. His face crumpled. Gianna, please. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. What nonsense is this? It's not nonsense, Mom. Jake's voice cracked. The dam breaking. I was 14. You were driving. The woman in the crosswalk. You said it was her fault, but... She lunged. But Dr. Kessler intervened. This is a safe space. Evelyn. Let's unpack. Unpack we did. Jake spilled. The payoff. The forged police report. His silence bought with college tuition. I played the shocked wife. Tears streaming. But inside?
Ice.
Evelyn denied. Gaslit. Her maw of lies gaping. He's confused. The drinking, it's her influence. But the seed was planted.
Dr.
Kessler mandated separate sessions, and I slipped her the dossier copy redacted. Of course. For context, I murmured. Words spread like flu in a nursing home. By February, Evelyn's social circle, those bridge club harpies in Highland Park, were whispering. Invites dried up, her charity galas went unattended. She called me weekly, vitriol veiled as concern. Fix your husband, Gianna, or you'll what? I purred. Run me over? The real heat built in March. The cold case tip-I'd filed bore fruit. CPD reopened the file. Courtesy of an ambitious DA eyeing re-election. Subpoenas flew. Evelyn lawyered up. Her firm bleeding cash. Jake. Cornered. Confessed to me one boozy night. She made me swear. Said it'd destroy us all. And it did, I replied, handing him divorce papers. Sign them clean, or the full tape goes public. The tape? Marco's wiretap gold, Evelyn admitting it all to a confidant over high tea.
He signed.
Custody to me. Alimony that'd choke a horse. But I wasn't done. The climax brewed at Easter brunch. Her desperate bid to rally the family. Oak Brook Country Club. Azaleas blooming like bloodstains. Tommy and I arrived last. Me in the red dress she'd once mocked as tacky. She cornered me in the powder room. Pearls clutched like a rosary.
You bitch.
This is your doing. Prove it, I said, smiling into the mirror as I fixed my lipstick.
Dinner was a powder keg.
Jake there with his new therapist, me, playing supportive ex. Cousins,
aunts.
The whole Hargrove circus. Midway through Lamb, her phone buzzed. The DA's office, interview scheduled. She blanched, fork trembling. Then Tommy, God, that kid, my secret weapon, piped up from his booster seat. Grandma, are you scared like Mommy was when Daddy lied? The policeman on TV said lying about cars hurting people is bad. Is that why you're sad? The table hushed. Forks paused. Evelyn's face twisted rage. Fear. A mother's fractured love for her son flashing through. Tommy? Honey. But Jake stood.
No. Mom.
It's time. He pulled out his phone. Hit play. Her voice. Tinny but damning. It was an accident. Jacob. She stepped out, drunk.
Probably.
We fixed it. For us. Gasps rippled. Aunts clutched pearls. The polarizing moment. Was Evelyn a villain? Or a desperate parent shielding her boy? Jake the victim? Or enabler?
Me.
The architect of ruin? Or Justice's blade? She fled, sobbing, into the spring rain.
Jake followed, pleading. I stayed,
Holding Tommy's hand, the room fracturing into factions, some hugging me, others shooting daggers. The twist came in May. As the trial loomed, Marco called. Gianna, there's more. The victim?
Her daughter's a reporter now.
For the Sun-Times. And she's got your number. I met Lena Vasquez in a dive off Michigan Avenue. Her eyes hard as the sidewalk where her mom had fallen. You opened this door, she said, sliding over a folder. Inside, Evelyn's payments hadn't stopped. Monthly checks to a nursing home. Lena's mom. Alive. Vegetative. A ghost in a gown. I didn't know, I whispered.
Lena leaned in.
Use it. But remember, revenge eats the avenger. The courtroom in June was a circus. Cameras flashing. Protesters outside waving signs. Justice delayed is justice denied. Evelyn, once imperious, now shrunken in her Chanel suit.
Jake testified.
Voice steady. She protected me. But it cost too much. My moment, cross-examined, I admitted planting the tip. Yes, I sought revenge. She humiliated me, broke my family. But this, I gestured to Lena in the gallery. This is truth. The jury deliberated 2 days. Verdict, guilty. Manslaughter, 5 years probation, restitution. No jail, her lawyer's magic. But the real sentence? Ruin. Social exile. Finances gutted. Jake estranged. We gathered post-trial at our old house, me,
Tommy,
Jake on thin ice. Evelyn arrived last, uninvited.
hollow-eyed.
Gianna, she rasped, you won.
Did I?
I handed her the folder. Your checks saved a life. Keep them going. She crumpled, sobbing, not defiance, but surrender. Tommy hugged her legs. It's okay.
Grandma.
Mommy says forgiveness is like Lego. Build it back. Jake and I, we tried counseling. Real this time. Sparks, but scarred. Lena's article hit the front page. The crash that shattered a dynasty and forged unlikely allies. Debates raged online. Hero or harpy? Monster mom or misguided? As summer heat baked Chicago, I watched Tommy build Lego empires in the yard. Free of shadows. Revenge? It silenced the room.
All right.
But in the quiet after, I wondered, who paid the most? The fallout from that Easter brunch lingered like cigarette smoke in a no-smoking bar, acrid, impossible to ignore, seeping into every corner of what used to be my life. By April, the Hargrove family WhatsApp group, that sacred circle of passive-aggressive memes and birthday reminders, had imploded into a war zone of voice notes and block numbers. Aunt Lydia, Evelyn's spinster sister with the poodle perm and a grudge longer than Lake Michigan, cornered me at the Jewel-Osco on a routine milk run. Gianna, you serpent, she hissed over the dairy case. Her cart loaded with gluten-free regrets. You've poisoned the well. Evelyn's beside herself, won't even answer her emails about the garden club auction. I gripped the half-gallon like a shield, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Lydia, if watering skeletons was on the agenda, she'd have RSVP'd. She gawked, mouth agape, as I wheeled away, heart pounding. Small victories. Sure.
but they tasted like ash.
Because deep down, in the witching hours when Tommy's snores echoed from his room and the city hummed its indifferent lullaby, doubt crept in. Was I the avenger or just another cog in the Hargrove machine of manipulation? Evelyn had schemed for decades, flipping narratives like a blackjack dealer with an ace up her sleeve. Now it was my turn, but every move felt like borrowing from a devil who charged compound interest. Jake, meanwhile, was a ghost in his own skin. Post-divorce papers. He'd rented a shoebox apartment in Logan Square, the kind with exposed brick and regret baked into the walls. Our amicable split made headlines in the society pages. Hargrove heir seeks fresh start amid family turmoil, but privately, he was unraveling. Late-night texts at 2 a.m. Can't sleep. What have we done? I'd stare at the screen, thumbs hovering. Then type. We survived.
No emojis.
No olive branches. He deserved the cold shoulder, but Tommy didn't. So we co-parented through gritted teeth, drop-offs at school, awkward zoo outings where Jake overcompensated with cotton candy and elephant facts. His eyes pleading for absolution I wasn't ready to grant. And Evelyn? She burrowed deeper into denial. Her fortress of old money cracking but unbreached. Marco's updates came sporadic. Encrypted PDFs dropped into my spam folder like contraband candy. She's lawyering up, he'd grunt over burner phones. His pizza oven clanging in the background. Hired the firm that got our Kelly off, white-collar vultures. But the DA sniffing, that tip you planted? It's got legs. I gnawed into the void, pacing my kitchen, the same linoleum where I'd once danced with Jake to Motown on vinyl, dreaming of forever. Now, it was just me, a single mom with a nursing gig that paid the bills but starved the soul, plotting like a character from a Gillian Flynn novel. The scheme evolved in stolen moments, coffee-fueled all-nighters after Tommy's bedtime. My laptop glowing like a Ouija board. Step 1 was isolation. Leak the affair timeline to Jake's golf buddies. Those paunchy execs at the club who worshipped at the altar of bro code. Anonymous email. Subject: Your pal's double life. Attached: hotel receipts. Flirty DMs from intern Brittany. The backlash was swift. Cancelled tea times. Whispers at the 19th hole. Jake called. Voice slurred. Gianna, they're icing me out. For Christ's sake. Call it off. Call off your mother running my life? I shot back. Voice steady as the L train rattling past my window. Or the part where you let her? He hung up. Good. Let him taste the margins. But Evelyn was no amateur. She counterpunched with cunning that bordered on art. A week later, a certified letter arrived, a cease and desist from her Shark Tank, accusing me of defamation and emotional distress. Enclosed, a check for $50,000 for Tommy's college fund, with a post-it in her looping script, "Let's end this madness. Family first." Tempting. Like Eve's apple dipped in arsenic. I shredded it, but not before depositing a copy with Marco.
Bait, he advised.
She'll flip when it bounces back. The flip came at Tommy's spring soccer game in a muddy field on the north side, rain spitting like God's disdain. I bundled him in his Cubs poncho, cheering as he tripped over the ball, all gangly limbs and unbridled joy. Jake showed. Late. With coffee from Intelligentsia, peace offering in a paper cup. We stood shoulder to shoulder on the sidelines, the awkward exes tableau, until Evelyn's Mercedes crunched gravel nearby. She emerged like a storm cloud in Lululemon, umbrella popping open, her face a mask of maternal concern. Jacob. Darling, she trilled. Ignoring me, I brought treats. She thrust a Tupperware of organic kale chips at Tommy, who wrinkled his nose. Thanks, Grandma. But can I have hot dogs instead? Her laugh was forced.
Brittle.
Then she turned, eyes locking on mine. Gianna. A word. We stepped aside. Under the dripping oaks. The game's whistles faint. This ends now, she said. Voice low. Venomous. The leaks. The therapy tapes. It's you? Isn't it?
Petty.
Like your father's bootleg gin scams back in Sicily. I flinched, low blow. Dredging my immigrant roots like so much dirty laundry. But I held steady. Petty? You framed your husband for vehicular assault to protect your debutante dreams. That's not petty. That's pathological. Her eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. You have no proof, don't I? I pulled out my phone, thumbed to a voice memo, from the wiretap, confessing the hit and run in excruciating detail. Play for the team. Evelyn.
Or better yet, the DA.
She snatched at it, but I yanked back. For a heartbeat, I saw the flip, calculation yielding to desperation. What do you want? Money? The house? Name it.
Truth, I said.
Admit it to Jake. To Tommy. Or it goes public. She straightened, chin lifting like the queen she'd always fancied herself. You're no better than me, Gianna. Twisting the knife for your little vendetta. He'll hate you for this, his mother, broken by his wife. Maybe, I conceded, rain streaking my face. But he'll respect me. She left without another word, her umbrella bobbing away like a retreating flagship. Jake jogged over, oblivious. What was that about? Old ghosts, I replied, ruffling Tommy's hair as he scored a fluke goal. Inside, the tension coiled tighter, dark. American tension. The kind that simmers in traffic jams and explodes in courtrooms. Marco's next drop was dynamite. Bank records showing Evelyn's charity donations weren't so charitable. The nursing home payments, laundered through shell accounts, tied to her late husband's suicide, which, surprise, smelled fishier than a Fulton Market wharf. Toxicology report buried in the file. Overdose ruled accidental. But the level screamed assisted. Had she, to silence him, preserve the facade? I hesitated, the first real crack in my armor. Revenge was one thing, exhuming a potential murder another. Call the cops? Leak to the press? Or hold it? Let it fester like the secrets it mirrored. The controversy gnawed. Was I judge, jury, executioner, or just the betrayed? Striking back in a world that chews up the vulnerable? Tommy sensed the storm. Of course.
Kids do.
That night, as I tucked him in, his room a galaxy of glow-in-the-dark stars, he clutched his stuffed T-Rex and asked, Mommy, is Grandma a bad guy? Like in Jurassic Park. I smoothed his curls, throat tight. Everyone's got bad guy parts, kiddo. Even Mommy. But we try to be the heroes. He yawned, eyes drooping. You're my hero. Even when you yell at the TV during Blackhawks games. Laughter bubbled up. Unexpected, a brief thaw. But as I kissed his forehead, the plan locked in, full court press. Tip the Sun-Times anonymously. Route it through Lena Vasquez's outlet. Let the press do the dirty work, America's true confessor. The article dropped May 1st. Hargrove matriarch's shadowy past, hit-and-run cover-up linked to family fortune. By noon, Evelyn's phone was melting, Reporters staking out her Gold Coast penthouse. The garden club dissolving her membership mid-bylaw vote. Jake called. Frantic. Gianna, this is insane. Mom's talking suicide watch. Hyperbole, I said coolly. She taught you that. But Doubt whispered. Had I pushed too far? The polarizing line blurred. Who is the villain now? Then the call from the DA's office. MS. Rossi. We need to talk. Your name's on the tip line metadata. Busted. The flip, not Evelyn's, but mine. As sirens wailed in the distance, coincidence or omen, I realized revenge wasn't a straight road. It was a Mobius strip, twisting back on itself. June in Chicago is a beast, humid, unrelenting, the air thick as conspiracy theories on a talk radio marathon. The trial date loomed like a guillotine blade. July 15th etched in my calendar in red ink that bled when I sweated. My shifts at the hospital blurred into a haze of 4 drips and vital checks. Patients' faces morphing into Evelyn's, pale, accusatory, pleading for mercy. I no longer dispensed. Tommy's summer camp drop-offs became rituals of normalcy, packing his backpack with juice boxes and sunscreen, forcing jokes about shark attacks while my mind replayed the wiretap loop. Her voice a siren's wail. It was her fault. Jacob. She ruined us. The DA's summons arrived via courier on a Tuesday. The envelope crisp as a subpoena for my soul. MS. Gianna Rossi. It began. All legalese, formality. Your cooperation is requested in the matter of State v. Evelyn Hargrove. Cooperation? That's code for you're fucked. I met ADA Ramirez in a sterile conference room downtown. The Loop's skyscrapers mocking me through tinted glass. She was mid-40s. No-nonsense Latina with a bun tight as her questions. Coffee breath and a stack of files that could crush a lesser woman. MS. Rossi, she said, sliding a tablet across. Your IP traces back to the initial tip. Care to explain? I met her gaze. Heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt.
Lie? Fold?
No, this was the fulcrum. The controversial pivot where revenge teetered on vigilante. I did it. I admitted. Voice level. Evelyn Hargrove destroyed my family. Gaslit me.
Turn my husband against me.
I wanted her to feel that powerlessness. Ramirez leaned back, steepling fingers. So this is personal. Not justice.
Both, I countered.
Her victim, Maria Vasquez, deserves closure. I just lit the match. She eyed me, then tapped the tablet. Lena's article. Bookmarked. MS. Vasquez corroborates. Says you reached out post-publication. Offered the nursing home angle. Why? Truth time. Raw as road rash. Because I saw myself in her. Betrayed. Sidelined. But also because it humanized Evelyn. Those checks. Not hush money. Lifeline. A beat. Then, unexpectedly, a nod. We'll need your testimony. But off record? Ballsy move. Stupid. But ballsy. Relief washed over. Tainted. As I left, the city pulsed around me, honking taxis, street vendors hawking iced waters, like nothing had shifted. But everything had. I was complicit now. Not just avenger but witness. My hands as stained as Evelyn's. Jake, predictably, flipped harder than a politician at a fundraiser. We met for coffee in Andersonville. Neutral ground amid the hipster brunch rush, avocado toast and oat milk lattes. The soundtrack to our dissolution. He looked wrecked. 5 o'clock shadow creeping to noon. Eyes bloodshot from nights chasing sleep with bourbon neat.
Gianna. The DA called me.
You're testifying? Against my mom? I corrected, stirring my black drip. For truth. He slammed his fist, mug rattling. Truth? You're dismantling everything. Her reputation. Our name, Tommy's future. What happens when the Hargroves are toxic waste? I leaned in, voice a whisper over the espresso hiss. What future? One where he learns men cower and women scheme? Or one where accountability sticks? He recoiled, the flip evident, denial to dawning horror. She did it for me. The cover-up. To keep Dad's mess from touching us. Dad's mess. I scoffed. Or hers. Marco's digging deeper, the overdose. Assisted.
Jake.
She silenced him. Like she tried with Maria, his face drained.
Saucer pail. No. That's.
You're lying. Am I? I slid my phone over. The tox report glowing. He scrolled, breath hitching, the coffee shop fading to a blur. When he looked up, it was with the eyes of a man seeing his pedestal crumble. What do? We show up, I said. For Tommy, he nodded, broken but resolute. A truce, fragile as rice paper. Evelyn's maneuvers ramped up, a desperate symphony of counters. Subpoena challenges. Character witnesses trotted out like show poodles, her pastor swearing to her saintly volunteerism, the club president lauding her philanthropy. But cracks showed. Cancelled credit cards. Jewelry hawked for bail bonds. Whispers of bankruptcy. She called me once. From a blocked number. Voice a ghost of its former steel. Gianna.
Please. Meet me.
Neutral ground. We did. The old diner in Hyde Park. Formica tables scarred like old wounds. Jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. She arrived incognito, baseball cap. Oversized shades. Looking every day of her 62 years. No Chanel, just a fleece from Target that screamed defeat. You've won, she said without preamble, stirring her tea with a spoon that clinked like chains. The Empire's ash. Happy, I sipped my Coke. Ice clinking back. It's not about winning. It's about the lie you built our lives on. Her laugh was bitter. A cough. Lie? I protected him. From scandal. From poverty. Your kind scratch and claw. But we preserve. My kind. Heat rose. Italian fire. You mean the ones who don't inherit silver spoons? Who work doubles so our kids eat. She waved it off. But her hand trembled. Then the flip, vulnerability. A mother's plea. Jacob was 14. Traumatized. I couldn't let him carry it. And Maria, her daughter? They carry nothing but ghosts. Silence. Thick as fog off the lake. Then, I sent the checks. Every month.
It's
penance. I softened. Just a fraction, the polarizing pull. Where empathy wars with enmity. Then testify. Own it. Or the overdose file goes next. Her eyes flashed. Defiance reignited. Blackmail. Gianna? You're her mirror. Maybe, I conceded. But mirrors don't lie. She left with a nod. The bell tinkling like a death knell. Victory? Or just another layer peeled? Revealing the rot we all shared? The pre-trial hearing was a circus. The courthouse steps mobbed with true crime podcasters and rubberneckers. All chasing that American itch for downfall. Tommy stayed with Jake's sister in the suburbs, shielded from the spectacle. I testified first, voice steady under fluorescent glare, the humiliation, the gaslighting, the tip as catharsis. The judge, a grizzled vet with a mustache like a broom, peered over bifocals. MS. Rossi, your motives appear conflicted. Vigilantism isn't justice. Understood. Your Honor, I replied. But silence was complicity. I chose otherwise. Evelyn's turn was a masterclass in deflection, teary-eyed. She spun the hit-and-run as tragic misjudgment, the cover-up as maternal instinct.
Jake.
Subpoenaed. Faltered on the stand, whispers of the overdose drawing gasps.
I.
Suspected, he admitted, voice cracking. But love blinds. The gallery erupted. Lena Vasquez in the front row. Notebook flying. Reporters tweeting feverishly. Polarization peaked. Online forums lit up. Hargrove trial trending. A Mile from Hell or Mom of the Year? One thread debated. Gianna's a saint, Evelyn deserved it. Versus wife's revenge porn for the bourgeoisie. All guilty AF. As we recessed, Jake grabbed my arm in the hall, eyes wild. She's flipping the script, claiming you coerced the tip. Fabricated evidence. I yanked free. Let her. Truth outs. But doubt gnawed deeper that night. Alone in my apartment, the AC humming dirges. Was I right? Or just righteous? The tension,
Dark and taut.
coiled like a spring in a bear trap. Marco's final call came at midnight. Gianna, pull back. The overdose? It's suicide.
Clean.
But Evelyn's gotta play. Witness tampering. Your name's on it. The twist uncoiled. Not her flip, but mine exposed. As dawn broke, gray and unforgiving, I realized the climax wasn't the verdict. It was the mirror she'd held up. Revenge. A circle with no end. The trial's opening day dawned sticky. The kind of July heat that turned Chicago into a skillet. Tempers frying faster than deep dish at Giordano's. The courthouse on Dearborn Street was a fortress of marble and metal detectors. Protesters clustered outside like angry bees, signs bobbing. Rich get richer. Poor get prison. And justice for Maria. Lena Vasquez texted me a thumbs-up emoji from the press pool. Her byline already promising fire. I slipped in through a side door. Badge clipped to my scrubs, nursing shift later. Life grinding on amid the drama. Tommy was with a sitter, blissfully unaware, building forts from couch cushions while the world dissected his grandma's sins. Inside, the courtroom smelled of old wood and older grudges. The jury box filling with a cross-section of America, a black mom from Englewood, a white-collar drone from the Gold Coast, a retiree with a veteran's glare. Evelyn sat ramrod at the defense table. Her lawyer, a silver fox named Harlan Crow, ex-fed with a drawl like molasses, patting her hand. She looked spectral, powder caked over hollow cheeks, pearls her only armor. Jake was in the back, anonymous in a sea of spectators, his nod to me fleeting, loaded. Prosecution opened strong, Ramirez pacing like a panther, projecting slides of the crash report, skid marks on rain-slick asphalt. Maria Vasquez's mangled bike frame. Ladies and gentlemen, she intoned, Evelyn Hargrove didn't just hit a woman. She erased her. Paid off cops, witnesses, her own conscience. This is an accident, it's arrogance. Crow countered smooth, flipping the narrative, a mother's desperate act to shield her child from trauma. No intent, no malice, just love. twisted by circumstance. He gestured to Evelyn, who dabbed a monogrammed hanky, eyes glistening on cue. The jury leaned in, hooked. Polarization from jump. Was she monster or martyr? Testimony dragged like a hangover. Cops from '09, retired and bitter, confirmed the Barry job. Report vanished overnight.
Ma'am.
Higher-ups leaned. A forensic accountant traced the shell companies. Evelyn's donations, a paper trail of penance or payoff. Lena took the stand midweek, voice steady as she described visiting her mom in the home. Tubes and beeps. 20 years gone. Those checks. They bought her breath. Not forgiveness. Evelyn's cross. MS. Vasquez. Isn't it true your mother had priors? Intoxicated that night. Gasps rippled. Lena fired back. Priors for what? Surviving? She was walking home from her cleaning shift. Your client was 3 martinis deep. The room crackled. Tension thick as humidity. I testified Friday. The stand a spotlight scorching my skin. Ramirez led gentle, the family dynamic. Evelyn's barbs. The Christmas gutting. And the tip, she prompted. My line in sand, I said. After she accused me of alcoholism to cover Jake's affairs. I uncovered the crash via PI. Sent it anonymously for Maria. Crow pounced. MS. Rossi. This PI, your cousin? Marco DeLuca. Felon? And the anonymous tip from your home IP? Sounds like vendetta, not virtue. I met his gaze. Call it what you want. I call it reckoning. The flip came on him. Reckoning? Or revenge? You planted doubts in your ex-husband. Coerced confessions. Even now, you dangle an overdose file, slander against the deceased. Objections sustained, but damage done. Jury faces hardened, some nodding, others frowning. Me, villainized avenger? The dark underbelly of my quest laid bare. Controversial decisions stacking like Jenga blocks on the brink. Week 2. Jake's turn. He ascended slow, suit hanging loose. The once charming exec reduced to a confessor in khakis. Direct. Mom covered for me. I was in the car. Saw it happen.
Froze.
She said it'd ruin us. Dad's firm was teetering. I let her. Ramirez pressed. And the silence? The lies to your wife. Guilt, he rasped. Evelyn leveraged it. Keep Gianna in check. Or it all spills. I cheated. Gambled. Lashed out. Weak. Crow cross, Mr. Hargrove. Isn't your ex-wife the true manipulator? Leaking your indiscretions. Fracturing the family. Jake hesitated, the room holding breath.
Then no.
I fractured it.
Mom.
She built it on sand. Evelyn's head snapped up. Betrayal flashing raw. Her flip, from poised to panicked. Whispering furiously to Crow. The gallery buzzed, reporters typing furiously. Social media exploding. Hargrove trial son turns on Amiel, shocker or sham. Her testimony was the climax. A high-wire act over a pit of vipers. Crow coached soft. Tell them your truth. Evelyn. She rose. Voice quavering but eyes steel. I love my son. That night. Fog. Rain. A shadow in the road. I panicked. Paid to fix it. Yes, for Jacob. He was a boy. Fragile after his father's struggles. A pause. Loaded. Richard's death? Suicide. The crash guilt broke him. I couldn't lose Jacob too. Ramirez objected. Hearsay. But the seed planted, Evelyn as tragic guardian, not schemer. Then the bomb. And Gianna? She knew. Her PI fed her lies, twisted my checks into extortion. She's the one who should have been stopped. Lies. But venomous. The jury shifted, whispers rising. Polarization peaked. My revenge, once righteous, now recast as ruthless. Online, it was Armageddon, AITA, threads, TikTok rants. Gianna's a psycho. Emile was protecting her baby. Versus.
Nah.
Evelyn's a sociopath. Gianna's the hero we need. Closing arguments were bloodsport. Ramirez. Actions have echoes. Hargroves silenced one voice. Don't let her silence Maria's. A crow. A flawed woman.
Yes.
But condemn her. And you condemn every parent who's bent rules for love. Deliberations stretched 3 days, weekend agony. Chicago sweltering in protest. Jake and I holed up at my place. Uneasy allies. Tommy oblivious with cartoons and popsicles. Will Grandma go to jail? He asked Sunday night. Ice cream smearing his chin. I knelt. Heart twisting. Jails for bad guys. Kiddo. Grandmas. Complicated. Am like you and Daddy? Wise beyond bruises. Exactly. Monday verdict. 10-2 guilty on cover-up. Hung on manslaughter. Probation. Restitution. $2 million to Maria's care. Community service scrubbing graffiti in the very neighborhoods she'd overlooked. No bars. But bars invisible, society shunning her. Fortune halved, legacy in tatters. Courtroom emptied in chaos, Evelyn hugging Crow. Then glaring daggers at me. Jake approached her. Words lost in the din. But her slap echoed. Sharp, maternal fury. He reeled. She stormed out. Pearls scattering like tears.
Outside.
Lena waited. Mike thrust. MS. Rossi. Justice served. I paused. Tommy's hand in mine. Jake hovering. Justice? It's a start. But scars don't fade with gavels. The twist hit that night. Over takeout lo mein in my kitchen. Rain lashing windows like judgment. Jake's phone buzzed. Voicemail from Evelyn. Jacob. It's over. But know this. The checks? Not just penance. Maria's daughter, Lena, she's yours. I paid to hide it. A one-night mistake. Pre-crash. Your father knew. That's why he.
Static.
Then click. The room tilted. Lena? Jake's? The betrayal layered infinite. Evelyn's secret. Shielding not just the crash, but a half-sibling scandal. Jake paled.
No.
Can't be. DNA, I said. Practical amid pandemonium. Test it. We did. Discreet lab in the suburbs. Results 2 weeks later. Match. Lena Vasquez.
Née Hargrove Jekes.
Hidden for decades. Confrontation at Evelyn's penthouse. Now half-packed boxes and echoes. She answered the door haggard.
No makeup.
A far cry from the dowager. You know. Everything, Jake growled. Why? Love, she whispered. Richard would have disowned you both. The affair, messy. Crash happened after. I buried it all to keep you whole. Lena arrived. Summoned. Eyes blazing. You paid for Mom's silence? While she rotted. Evelyn crumpled. I tried to atone. The checks. We stood there. A fractured tableau. Enemies turned kin. Revenge's pyre consuming us all. No one right. No one wrong. Evelyn's schemes born of shame. My vendetta fueled by blindness. Jake's weakness the glue. In the end, uneasy alliance. Lena, in therapy with us. Evelyn funding expanded care for Maria. Visits now. Not checks. Jake and I, co-parenting stretched to include a sister. Sparks of old love flickering amid ashes. Tommy summed it. Gap-toothed over pancakes. Family's weird.
Huh?
Like a puzzle with extra pieces. Debate rages still, online. In hushed coffees. Heroic reckoning or hubristic hell? Happy? Tragic? Both. In that dark American way. As fall leaves skittered down Elmwood Lane, I watched them build, messy, mended. Revenge silenced the room, but in the quiet, voices rose. And that, maybe, was the real hook.